Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video for you guys, Week 15 waiver wire ads for fantasy football in 2020. I hope that all of you guys ended up advancing past your last week's matchup, or maybe you're starting the playoffs this week and you're getting fired up to win your 2020 fantasy football championship. The season is almost over, but right now you need to be locked and loaded in, and you're going to be able to get that here in this video for Week 15 waiver wire ads. If you guys want more videos like this, if you end up enjoying, having a great time, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to get notified every single time I post. A majority of days I'm posting 2 to 3 videos to help you guys get that upper edge on the rest of your fantasy league. And real quick, before we get deep into this waiver wire ads video, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends and my sponsors over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com offers a variety of games on their website. It's my favorite way to play daily fantasy sports on the internet. They have the matchup shop, which I typically talk about, where you have one player versus another, plus or minus a certain amount of fantasy points. You pick one, and you put as much money on that matchup as you want, as low as like $1, and as high as, I believe, $500+. But this week, I want to talk about the quarterback shootout, because I won a lot of money on this last week, and it is very, very simple. All you have to do is you're going to get a bunch of matchups on your screen, and all you have to do is pick 5 out of the 10 to 12 that show up on your screen, and if you get them all right, the prize is very, very big. The top 10% win $50. First place gets $500. Now, obviously, I didn't win $500, even going 5-0, because 3 other people won, but that is still a decent amount of money. My other ones went 4-1, and the other one went 4-1 as well, so I made a combined $300 on Overlay DFS last week. It is very, very simple. You just pick who scores more fantasy points, player versus player. That's how easy it is. You guys do all this research all week long to win your fantasy matchup, so why not win some extra cash on top of it on OverlayDFS.com. And we are back. Let's get into it. Week 15 waiver wire ads. We begin with Gus Edwards for the running backs. In this video, we do running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. If you have questions about quarterbacks, make sure you ask down below. I will make sure to respond to you if you need a question about quarterbacks. Gus Edwards is the first running back of a couple we are going to be talking about. Now, Gus Edwards is not owned in every single league based on the research I did. He's actually owned in less leagues than I thought he would be owned in. Now, maybe if you guys are in a highly competitive league, he's probably owned, but if you're in a league with a couple of dumbasses, maybe you didn't have room for him, and you've seen him be explosive the last couple of weeks, now is your time to get Gus Edwards. This matchup, Week 15, up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, is a smash matchup for all these Baltimore Ravens running backs. We saw last week the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football a couple hours ago. As I'm recording this last night, as you were watching, just really stomp out the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, and Jacksonville got stepped on and ran a train on by Derrick Henry last week. Over 200 yards, 7 rushes last night for Gus Edwards for 49 rushing yards, 2 tugs, 1 reception on 1 target, 4 receiving yards, and 18.3 PPR points, or 17.8 half PPR points. So Gus Edwards really did the work and looked like the better back on the team. Now, the biggest issue with the Baltimore Ravens smorgasbord of running back fuckery is the fact that on a weekly basis, you genuinely have no idea which one it is going to be. One week it'll be Dobbins, the other week it'll be Edwards, but as of recently, they've kind of pushed Mark Ingram to the side. Skedaddle, sir. Get out of the fucking way. It's Edwards and Dobbins time. Next year, by the time it's draft time, I'm not sure how I'm going to be drafting these running backs, because both of these guys have tremendous upsides and one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL. So I think Gus Edwards should be able to get it done Week 15 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it's always scary because of how this backfield is ran, and it's very much like a revolving door in Baltimore. Next guy here is Lynn Bowden, running back of the Miami Dolphins, Week 15 versus New England. Now, on some sites, he's a running back. On other ones, he's a receiver. And on other websites, he's a running back / wide receiver. So he's one of those players that, depending on what format you're on, you will be able to get him as a running back, others a receiver. Based on what I looked at, mostly I saw him listed as a running back. Now, Myles Gaskin likely will, in my opinion, probably end up missing again, and Lynn Bowden looked pretty solid up against the Kansas City Chiefs. He did only have 1 rush for 2 rushing yards, but you're not looking at Lynn Bowden for the immense rushing upside. He's pretty much a receiver. You can play in the running back slot. He had 9 targets last week for 7 receptions on 82 receiving yards, 15.4 PPR points, and 11.9 half PPR points from Mr. Lynn, Bowden. Bowden seems to be in a good spot here after going and getting drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders and then getting moved to the Miami Dolphins via trade early on in the season. I think Lynn Bowden is going to have a lot of use in this offense, especially if Devontae Parker ends up missing this matchup, which I'm about 50-50 on. Mike Gesicki seems like he's going to miss, so Bowden has a wide open spot here to stick his fist right through and become one of those running back saviors of your fantasy football season. If you're down bad at the running back position, Lynn Bowden might be the answer for you. Next guy here is Jeff Wilson Jr., running back of the San Francisco 49ers, week 15 at the Dallas Cowboys. And if you guys know anything about the Dallas Cowboys defense, is they get a train ran on them regardless of who is the running back. I'm telling you right now, you could fucking suit up, you the viewer, guy, girl, woman, fucking cat, dog, anyone, your fucking dog could run a train on the Dallas Cowboys defense because they don't understand how the fuck to defend the rushing attack. Mostert is in the concussion protocol. Mostert is the king of getting injured, and that is very sad to hear. The king of the blue tent. I'm sure if you go to that blue tent, the injury tent on the sideline, Raheem Mostert has signed his name in there. So with that said, Jeff Wilson does have the opportunity to be big in this offense. He seems like he's normally the good to go player once Mostert is out. Week 14 versus the Washington football team. 11 rushes for 31 rushing yards and 1 tug like his name was Robert Kraft in a massage parlor. 1 reception on 3 targets, 13 receiving yards. Did have a fumble though, 9.4 PPR points and 8.9 half PPR points. The biggest worry about a fumble in San Francisco is actually how the head coach Kyle Shanahan runs this offense. If you fumble, you're pretty much on the hit list there in San Francisco, and they'll just throw in Tevin Coleman or someone else. So I think Jeff Wilson, if Raheem Mostert ends up missing, will be the number 1 guy, in my opinion, on touches in this backfield, and a good run-heavy team in San Francisco up against a bad Dallas Cowboys defense. This could be a very good ad this week up against the Cowboys. Next guy here is Peyton Barber, running back of the Washington football team. This week going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Peyton Barber is not the greatest ad ever, but it seems like Antonio Gibson is going to end up missing again, and Barber is kind of that goal line back that if they do, or if they are able to get close and try to score, it seems like Alex Smith may play as well, which will bode even better for this Washington football team offense. But if they get real close to the end zone, they seem to want to smash it in there with Peyton Barber. Week 14 to San Francisco 49ers, 12 rushes, 37 rushing yards, 2 receptions on 3 targets for 1 receiving yard, 5.8 PPR points and 4.8 half PPR points. Now, I know that's something to call home about and tell your mom, Peyton Barber scored me fucking 5.8 PPR points. But what he could do is have the potential to get the ball a decent amount up against a not so hot run defense in the Seattle Seahawks. So if you're in a deeper kind of league, you're in a real big fucking pickle, Peyton Barber could be the option for you. Sound like I was trying to fucking sing right there, but I can't sing. Straight bars, 8 cars. DeAndre Washington, running back of the Miami Dolphins, is the final running back, except for, just kidding, there's 1 more after this of the Miami Dolphins. Actually, there might be 2 more after this. Week 15 versus the New England Deflatrates. Now, I know we just talked about earlier about Lynn Bowden, but DeAndre Washington was getting a majority of the rushing touches. Just Bowden is a fucking receiver who is listed as a running back. Just like with Bowden, Gaskin should be able to miss, in my opinion, probably will miss this game, that bitch Carol Gaskin, and will open up a humongous big opportunity up against the up against the New England Patriots, who just got a certified train ran on them by rookie running back Cam Akers. Week 14 versus the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 13 rushes for 35 rushing yards, 2 receptions on 4 targets for 17 receiving yards, 7.2 PPR points, and 6.2 half PPR points. So another case of a guy who definitely will get a lot of opportunity this week. It really depends on if Gaskin ends up playing and if Breida or Salvin Ahmed end up coming back. To be fair, how it seems like Washington will get another go-ahead to be the number 1 back on the team, and up against New England, it could be dangerous, like his name was Russell Wilson. Final guy here, I believe, Tony Pollard, running back of the Dallas Cowboys, Week 15 versus the San Francisco 49ers. Now, he's definitely more of a stash, but he has been doing better than Zeke in some games, and up against the San Francisco 49ers, we could see Pollard in the game because when they're out by a zillion points, they kind of just pivot away from Zeke because they don't want him to end up getting hurt. Week 14 at the Cincinnati Bengals, 11 rushes for 39 rushing yards, 2 receptions on 2 targets, 2 for 2. Never mind, I was going to say 3 for 3 like a free throw, but he only went 2 for 2, 9 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 12.8 PPR points, and 11.8 half PPR points. So if your running back core is completely awful, now, I'm not sure how you advanced into the playoffs if your running back core is so bad that Tony Pollard is playing. But with the injuries that keep happening and all this corona bullshit, if Zeke was to get corona, which you're not hoping for, knock on wood, we don't want that to happen. The light just went out in front of me. We don't want that to happen, obviously. But there's uncertainties for maybe the running backs on your team for that. So Tony Pollard is definitely worthy of a stash. Final guy now onto the receivers. I'm just kidding. That was the last running back there. Now we're going to do receivers and then tight ends. If you guys have ended up enjoying this video thus far, you got through all the running backs, you had a great fucking time, you chuckled at maybe one of my jokes, maybe they all fell flat, but then you'd already be out of here if you didn't think it was funny at all, maybe. Or maybe you're still here because you just dislike me. It is what it is, though. You made it like 9 minutes in the video, so shout out to you. T.Y. Hilton, wide receiver of the Indianapolis Colts, Week 15 versus the Houston Texans. Now, Hilton has had 3 amazing games in a row. T.Y. Hilton came when you needed him least. Once you got fucked and you probably were out of the playoffs, if you were starting T.Y. Hilton, he came back and fired it up. You probably already cut him like 8 fucking weeks ago, and he's been the #1 ad 2 weeks back-to-back, but I found that he's still available in a bunch of leagues according to ESPN, NFL, and Yahoo that I was looking at, so he's still going to go ahead and make it in this list. 3 amazing games in a row. Like I said, this week up against the Houston Texans is a soft serve ice cream simpleton matchup up against the Houston Texans. 5 receptions on 7 targets for 86 receiving yards, not 1, but a 2 tugs in that matchup, 25.6 PPR points and 23.1 half PPR points. Frankly, T.Y. Hilton didn't score a touchdown, I believe, all fucking year, and he scored 4 in the last 3 games. This guy is simply reincarnated as T.Y. Hilton from 3 fucking years ago. If you guys remember, couple years ago, Andrew Luck to T.Y. Hilton was just, it would make your mouth water. It would make your dick throb like you were on some type of penis pill. With that said, that's how it felt. He was so fucking good. And then this year and last year, he was just going off the deep end, and it just didn't seem like he was going to be okay. But now he's fired back up. He's been great. I love him this week up against the Houston Texans. Next guy, here's Nelson Agholor, wide receiver of the Las Vegas Raiders. Week 15 versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, Nelson Agholor went from Philly, where he could catch nothing, to Las Vegas, where everyone catches everything, and the football just somehow stays in this man's hand. He's been consistent 4 games in a row, 4 like the 4th down that Brady thought it was in reality. When 4th down already happened up against 9-inch Nick Foles, and he did not shake his hand. Don't ever forget that. Tom Brady is a sore fucking loser. Week 14 versus the Indianapolis Colts. 5 receptions on 9 targets for 100 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 21 PPR points, and 18.5 half PPR points. Nelson Agholor has been on one as of recently up against the Los Angeles Chargers. This game screams to me a Justin Herbert tug, bang, and then fucking Derek Carr fires back, bang, back and forth, a heavyweight affair of 2 teams with defenses that have no idea how to stop. 1 team with a coach who has no idea how to count to 5, and 1 team with one of the coolest head coaches in Gruden in the NFL. I love this game, and I love Nelson Agholor. I'm fired up for Nelson Agholor this week, just like I'm fired up for this motherfucker named Chad Hansen, wide receiver of the Houston Texans, Week 15 at the Indianapolis Colts. And this isn't Chad from Delta Theta Psi or whatever the fuck a fraternity would be called. No hate on you if you're in a fraternity, but it seems like every fraternity has a guy named Chad, and the Houston Texans also have a sexy man named Chad, who has been playing good 2 weeks in a row. Legitimately have no fucking idea who this guy is, but 2 weeks in a row he's played good. Cooks, seems like that motherfucker has just taken his big dirt nap. He just doesn't want to play anymore. Look good 2 weeks in a row again here up against the Indianapolis Colts, though. Is no soft serve matchup for Mr. Chad Henson, but I expect the target volume, 7 receptions. That is 2 weeks in a row, 7 targets 2 weeks in a row. I expect Hanson, just like Scott or Chris Hansen, to be knocking on your door. It ain't gonna be too well if what Hansen was I just talking about? Chris Hansen. If that man is in your house and you showed up to meet up with a girl, you know that you are going to be getting arrested because you should not have met up with that 13-year-old that you found on the internet. I have never done that, but that's what the TV show of Catching a Predator is, and you are going to be catching a diamond in the rough when you pick up Chad Hansen. Hopefully that did not make a bunch of people leave my fucking stupid, weird joke. Week 14 at the Chicago Bears. 7 for 7, 56 receiving yards, 12.6 PPR points, and 9.1 half PPR points. So Mr. Hansen seems like a all-right grab at this point in the season if your wide receiver core is a bit hurt. Next guy up here is Gabriel Davis, wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills, Week 15 at Denver. Now, I feel like we're kind of getting really high on these Buffalo Bills wide receivers, feeling higher than Elon Musk, but Gabriel Davis has been proving it not 1, not 2, but 3 games in a row for the rookie wide receiver. This week, he gets the Denver Broncos in what could be a high-scoring game if horsecock Drew Lock decides to actually play football correctly. But with Drew Lock, it's literally I'm going to go, if I had a coin, I didn't have a coin. I went somewhere earlier, got some fucking food. No free ads to wherever I went, though. Only paid ads, overlaydfs.com. But I would flip the coin, but it's in my car, and it is cold as fuck outside in New Jersey, so I'm not going out there to flip the coin, but pretty much it's a coin flip on a weekly basis. Drew Lock either literally looks like Stevie Wonder in the pocket, like he can't see anything, like John Cena, you can't see me type deal, or he looks like he can see everywhere on the field, crystal clear 20/20 vision, and this man is just throwing dots all over the field. You either get one or the other. It's never middling penis Drew Lock. It's either micro cock Lock or horse cock Drew Lock. It's never in the middle. Week 14 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Gabriel Davis put up 3 receptions on 8 targets, 19 receiving yards, 1 tug, 10.9 PPR points, and 9.4 half PPR points. Him having an extreme amount of volume. Sure, he only brought in 3 catches, but that was up against a tougher defense than the Denver Broncos. So I think Gabriel Davis is definitely worthy of a pickup this week. The guy on the other side of the ball, Tim Patrick, wide receiver of the Denver Broncos, week 15 versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler, to be completely honest with you, have been outplaying Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, a top 15 pick in the NFL draft, I believe. Might be slightly off. I know he's top 20 pick. He was the first pick for the Denver Broncos. What the fuck happened to Jerry Jeudy? He just went from being in Alabama with Tua Tagovailoa, being a hot shot player, and now he's just fucking sucking some fat hog recently. Week 14 at the Carolina Panthers, though, Tim Patrick 3 for 5 for 36 receiving yards, 1 tug, 12.6 PPR points, and 11.1 half PPR points. And Patrick has been pretty solid. 2 weeks ago, I think Tim Patrick really lit it up, like not last week, but the week before. So Patrick's a guy that gets a lot of work in this offense. He's a guy a couple years ago I also liked in fantasy football, and this year, after Jeudy is kind of slumped in, Judy's not able to get rock solid for game day. He's going into the game soft. He needs some Viagra, but Tim Patrick does not. He is always rock hard and ready to go this week up against the Buffalo Bills. Next guy here is James Washington, wide receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers, this week up against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. Now, he's had 2 good games in a row, but the real question is Deontay Johnson done? I don't know. I do not know. I'm trying to do my Borat voice. Very nice. I like you, my wife. But James, what the fuck happened to Deontay, man? Deontay might be the most talented wide receiver ever in the NFL that can't catch the ball. He's like Nelson Agholor. This motherfucker, the ball will hit him right in the hands. I swear to you, it hits him right in the hands. You guys have seen this because it was on prime time this week up against the Buffalo Bills. Right in the breadbasket, drops it. 3 receptions, 6 targets, 29 receiving yards for Mr. Washington, 1 receiving tug, 11.9 PPR points, and 10.4 half PPR points. So this guy always ends up in the game because Mike Tomlin does not stand for that nonsense of a bunch of motherfuckers dropping the ball. So if Claypool drops the ball like 3 times, you're out of here. Johnson drops the ball like 3 times, you're out of here. And they're getting the wide receivers to be held accountable. So I think Washington is definitely worthy of an ad this week up against the bum-ass Bengals. Now on to the tight end section of the video. So again, if you guys have ended up enjoying through the running backs and the receivers, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you are not new, you've been here for a while, make sure you hit that like button. Irv Smith, tight end of the Minnesota Vikings. Week 15 versus the Chi-Town Bears. Kyle Rudolph likely out. Week 14 at Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4 for 4 like the motherfucker was at Wendy's. No free ads, but that's actually where I went earlier. 63 receiving yards, 1 receiving tug, 16.3 PPR points, and 14.3 half PPR points. Once Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer is not in the game, Irv Smith seems to be the fucking main reindeer over there on Santa's fucking sleigh. He's like Donovan Prancer, all those guys. But they like murdered Rudolph or something, and then they're the elite guy. I like Irv Smith this week up against the Chi-Town Bears. He has shined this season when Rudolph has been banged up. Next guy here is Cole Kmet, tight end of the Chicago Bears, week 15 at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Jimmy Graham, Jimmy G, Jimmy Guwap also scored in this game, but Cole Kmet has looked good 2 weeks in a row. He kind of had a real explosive game 2 weeks ago. Last week played decent, but this does prove to me that he is worthy of starting in fantasy football, especially up against the Minnesota Vikings. Gronk scored on them last week. 4 receptions on 7 targets for Mr. Kmet, 41 receiving yards, 8.1 PPR points, and 6.1 half PPR points. So Cole Kmet is really no sludge or slooge. I don't even know what word I'm trying to say, but he's no pushover, I should say. No schlump, no schlub for Cole Kmet. So I think he's worthy of an ad here up against the bum Minnesota Vikings defense. And final tight end, we got my guy, Adam Shaheen, tight end of the Miami Dolphins, Week 15 versus the New England Patriots. Now, it seems like Mike Likiamagasiki is likely going to miss this game. Seems like the man blew out his shoulder, just like the Dolphins almost blew the back out of the Kansas City Chiefs. But Mahomes came in clutch later in the game. Dolphins heavily utilized the tight end. It seems like Tua likes to throw the ball to the tight end, and it seems like if Gesicki's gone, Shaheen may be heavily utilized. Now, this is a deep league ad. Completely deep league ad. Like, you're completely down bad. Like, there is just no one else to add. Then you're down horrible. That's when you add Adam Shaheen. 2 receptions up against the Chiefs, 3 targets, 26 receiving yards, 4.6 PPR points, and 3.6 half PPR points. He's pretty much a shot up to the fantasy gods, a prayer, be like, please, fantasy football lords, let Adam Shaheen get the fucking ball. That's what you're hoping for. Last week, you were hoping for Adam Thielen to get the ball because he shit the bed big time. But Adam Shaheen, hopefully he does not, up against the New England Deflatrates this week. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, please make sure that you smack that subscribe button down below. Hit it with the 1-2 Mayweather KO. I love you guys all so much. OverlayDFS.com. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Make sure to eat some W's like your name was Jameis Winston this week in Week 15. I love you guys all. As always, have a great rest of your guys' day. Good boy.